were hurting. Oh, my lower back. There'd been so much weight down there for so long, and oh, my feet ached. I wiped the sweat from my brow. I'd been hiking all day, and hiking with a heavy backpack on my back. I had my food, tent, sleeping bag, clothes, well, and my Bible too, because I wanted to read my Bible high up in the mountains. When were we ever going to find this lake? We'd seen it on the map. We'd never been there. We were on this trail. It was hot and dusty. We hadn't seen a single stream. Well, a couple that were dried up. But supposedly there was going to be a lake and some water, and oh, I was so looking forward to a rest. And someone had been hiking a ways behind us. They'd been lingering back there all day, but all of a sudden they picked up their pace and they passed us just before we rounded the corner to the lake. Oh, because obviously they had their favorite camping spot and they wanted to be sure that they got there first. And I saw the lake and I thought, oh yes, only one good camping spot that was anywhere near the water that was almost all evaporated into the ground. This is why we hiked so far. Well, we saw a little path and we decided to take the little path that went up beyond the lake. Maybe we would find something better than this. Sure was worth looking. And so we hiked and hiked another half mile, and over the hill we looked down. There was a beautiful crystal clear blue lake, and no one was there. Oh, Jesus had saved the very best for us. A lake all to ourselves, a camping spot and campfire pit right there beside the lake. But the best was still to come. After hiking so far, how does your stomach feel? It's growling, isn't it? It's very hungry. We had brought food with us, but Jesus had prepared something really special. I'd been noticing something interesting. It was fall. That's why all the streams were dried up, and the lower lake was almost dried up. It was late fall, and the bushes, the little tiny short bushes, had turned red, and there were beautiful red spots on the hillsides. And near those red spots of bushes, whose leaves were almost dead, the birds were singing so loudly. Why were they so happy near those bushes? I had to look and see. So I bent down and I looked under those beautiful red leaves. And there were bright blue berries, huckleberries. And wherever the most birds were singing, that's where the most berries were. Oh, and then I thought, there's something to be learned from this. I wonder what Jesus is going to teach me on this special trip out into the mountains. Well, one thing I thought of right away, those leaves reminded me of death, right? And when we die to self, that's when the beautiful fruit of Jesus' life can be seen in us. And that is what's going to bring joy to others as they find that, like the berries were bringing joy to the birds. And, well, of course, to me, too, because I picked lots of berries to eat on my oatmeal. And that was the best treat out there high in the mountains. We set up our tent and all those good things that come with camping. But on one side of the lake, there was this big tumble of boulders. I like those big boulders. I took my seat on top of one boulder, looking down at the lake and looking up at this majestic mountain. And in the still morning, I was sitting there and I was praying, I was thinking, and I thought about another story of berry picking. This was a story that happened in a dream on September 29, just about the same time that I was out there camping, but it happened in a dream long ago in 1886. Mrs. White and a company of other believers had loaded up their wagons with lunches and goods, and most importantly, most of them, not everyone, they had brought pails with them. They were going on a berry picking excursion. And soon the wagon halted out in the countryside, and the party tumbled out of the wagon, everyone scattering every direction looking for fruit. Well, in Mrs. White's dream, She didn't have to look very far because there were low bushes and there were high bushes, and she started looking right there beside the wagon, and inside the bushes, she saw berries. As she parted the leaves, there was just one berry here and one berry there that were ripe, and there were green berries, so she had to pick very carefully. And then, that was exciting, but then she looked at the ground. Oh, if only someone had been here sooner. Look at all those good berries that are spoiled. They're on the ground, and the ants and the insects are eating them. She bent down to try to find some of the good berries and pick them off the ground to save them. Oh, but these can't be saved, she looked. They were too far gone. But she still kept them in her hand. She didn't just toss them away. She said, I must show these to the other brethren. I must show them, and I must say to them, if only we had been here sooner to pick these ripe berries before they were spoiled. She continued pecking, one berry at a time, one here, one there, one over there. But she didn't move very fast or very far because she was looking for every ripe berry that was closest at hand. She noticed that hardly anybody was around her. There were so many good berries to be found here, but where were everyone that was supposed to be picking the berries? Then 2 or 3 of the party that had come to pick berries came sauntering around. They were just chatting happily with themselves, as if there were no berries that needed to so urgently be picked. We've looked everywhere, they said. We just can't find any fruit. There are more berries to be gathered, said Mrs. White. Look here, there's berries right here. Help me pick. Oh, it's not fair for me to take your berries. You found this spot, I better go find another place. Oh, no, said Mrs. White, do help me pick these berries. They must be picked, or they will be spoiled. It's God's field. These are his berries, and we have the privilege to pick them. Soon, Mrs. White seemed to be alone again. Every little bit she heard talking and laughing over by the wagon. What are you doing? She came closer. Oh, we couldn't find any berries, and so we decided to have a rest and eat our lunches. Berries! There's berries to be picked, Mrs. White said. But will you come? Will you come and pick? Don't you think you should work before you eat? Her small pail was soon full of berries, and she took them to the wagon. Oh, look, this is the nicest fruit that I've ever picked. And I gathered it just right here. I didn't have to go far from the wagon. Everyone came running to see her fruit. Whoa, look at those berries. I didn't know there were so many berries. I couldn't find any. There's low bushes, there's high bushes. But most others only had a few berries rolling around in the bottom of their buckets. Please, will you take these berries? She handed her bucket to someone. I must have an empty bucket now. I must go pick before the night comes when no man can keep picking these berries. Didn't you come to gather fruit? Some said we didn't even bring a bucket with us. So they came on a berry picking excursion, and they didn't even expect to find berries. Now, you know what Jesus wants us to be looking for? Do you know what the berries are that he wants us to be finding, looking right close at hand? The right berries are right souls for his kingdom. We need to be looking for those berries. We need to be finding them. We need to go with our buckets ready in hand, expecting to find the berries, expecting not to just get a few berries rolling around in the bottom of our buckets, but to get our buckets full. Oh, yes, you're not going to part the bushes and find them everywhere. They're going to be here and there and over there, but you must look and pick them one by one. And one by one, your bucket will fill up, and you will have a bucket full of ripe berries, souls for Jesus' kingdom. So, will you help? Be zealous and earnest in picking the berries, working right where you are. Jesus wants to send us forth as his berry pickers. We need to be diligent, find the berries closest, and work diligently so no more berries are spoiled and more berries are saved in your bucket, ready for Jesus' kingdom. Who would like to offer a prayer that we can be berry pickers for Jesus? Who would like to pray? Elijah, thank you.
Dear God in heaven, thank you for all you've done. Thank you for the story that we just heard. Thank you for the example, and Lord, please help this day to go a blessing for people and it to be exciting. Thank you. Amen.
And I have a special page for you. You can take back to your seats. And it has the whole complete story that I didn't have time to tell you. So it's a good Sabbath afternoon story for you to read, the story that Mrs. White wrote of